It is time. Finally, video number 1. Welcome to the channel. My name is Preston, and my channel focuses on video games in a way, but with an immersive flair to it. What helps with immersion? What increases immersion? Lighting, sound, what we see, our displays, our peripherals, our comfort, our surroundings, our atmosphere, outside noise. There are so many factors, and we plan to go over all of those, and hopefully either a weekly or a sub-weekly basis, depending on how fast I can get these videos out. But as a first series, I want to go into immersion because I believe it's very important to our overall experience to how we enter these giant, big games for the first time. That gives our lasting impression. This day and age, there are ways to even drive that to another stage to really get that awe-inspiring, lasting feeling that we get whenever we first roll through a game. No matter if it's The Witcher 3 or Skyrim, there's always those impressions that last. So how do we make that even better? Well, that's what I'm here for. And hopefully you guys are along for the ride. And if you end up liking the content and the videos that I put out, please consider subscribing. If not, hey, I understand. Hopefully I can leave a lasting impression on some people and give you guys just something to think about. In this particular episode, we're going to be going over the fundamental bias lighting, immersive lighting in general, a tutorial, a step-by-step process. So if you guys are ready, here we go.
It's 4 a.m. You've been slaying hordes of enemies for countless hours in the dark domain of your room since the beginning of nightfall. You refuse to abandon your quest until the sun rises. Suddenly, your eyes begin to dry and burn, maybe even bleed. A throbbing headache begins to set in, quickly pulling you out of the engagement and focusing more and more on the irritation of the eye strain and brain-drilling headache that has developed. But then it suddenly dawns on you that you've chosen to be an edgy weirdo sitting in a pitch-black room staring at a beaming headlight. It puts you at ease knowing you'll make it until the end and reach your goal. That is until abysmal regret sets in when you realize you have to wake up at 3 hours for your 9-to-5 soul-crushing job. Good luck with that, buddy. But hey, that's what energy supplements are for, right? Well, okay, or you could, fall miserably to your death like this loser. Unlike traditional, uneventful room lighting, bias lighting is when a light source is placed behind either a TV or monitor to provide ambient light around the screen without shining directly into your eyes. If you still need some convincing that extends beyond saving your poor, abused eyes from fatigue, then consider 2 other great benefits. The additional indirect lighting provided by the bias lighting increases the contrast of the on-screen image, making your OG miscalibrated picture settings look even better. On that note, it's pretty common for people to adjust the values for backlight brightness and contrast to higher levels in order to achieve the intensity of color and black contrast that is commonly sought after. Well, unless you're experiencing symptoms of a sweaty gamma board.
Bro, this shit nothing but easy, man. Man, what the fuck you hissing at, cat? Why get off the down, man? But fuck off, man. What the fuck wrong?
Cats are the best. Now, standard bias lighting is great and all, but as you can clearly see, it can be taken a step further, where your peripheral vision could greatly enhance your experience of playing a game or a movie that you're already so deeply engaged in. That next step pertains to a syncing bias lighting system provided by a few solutions such as the one I've been working on. Or you can wait for a Philips Ambilight OLED TV to come out this year if you're in the US, which has individually single-lit LEDs embedded into the backside of the unit, which in turn produces a very accurate color cast onto the wall, representing very true to what is on screen in real time. But to every pro, there is a con. They're lacking in decent response time and input lag, not to mention a few important features gamers typically look for in a display when compared to units that support DisplayPort 1.4, HDMI 2.1 for next-gen consoles, and upcoming 2020 video cards for 4K 120Hz support. Also to note that neither G-Sync or FreeSync are currently available in these units as of 2020, but damn does it look good. Now personally, I ended up going with a Philips Hue Playbar system and one light strip, due to the richness and color range, customization, smart home functions, HDR support, real-time accuracy, and so on. But There are other alternatives out there which I plan to cover later on down the road. With this particular setup, I find myself to be far more immersed in whatever content is on screen, drawing me far deeper into the experience while keeping my eyes from wanting to scream in agony at the same time. It's a win-win. But it's still not going to save you from being complete garbage at a game, so don't count on that. So, how does immersive biosliding actually enhance your experience? Isn't it distracting? From my personal experience after using this for several months, no. But I think this is going to vary from person to person. I'd have to say that it's quite the opposite. Well, you know, unless you focus on staring at reflected light on the edges of your display instead of what's on screen, much like a moth attracted to bright sources of light. But hey, I mean, if that's your thing, you do you. Immersive lighting is meant to give your peripheral vision an extension of what you perceive on screen while you're focused at the center of the action. And to add on to that, if you have your display pulled out about a foot or so from the wall, it gives the play bars more room to breathe, which in turn creates a large, evenly illuminated represented color cast of whatever scene is currently being rendered onto the display at that given moment. So, if you end up doing something like this, I highly recommend pulling your display out from the wall a bit to reap the rewards. It looks absolutely awesome. So you guys want to see this in action or what?
Then check this out.
This perspective enables us to maximize your immersion.
Take job. You do what I say. So you jack in now.
It's clear. Go.
No matter if it's anime, games, TV shows, movies, or whatever weird shit you're into at 4 AM in the morning, no matter the content, I personally believe this setup provides an incredibly deep, immersive experience for anyone to dive into. As the segment ends, we'll be dropping into the tutorial so that if you're interested in seeing how I did it step by step, there will be a direct guide that you can follow so you can get the same results that I currently have. So, let's push into part 2 of this video. In this tutorial, we'll be taking a step-by-step approach on how you can build and set up a complete Philips Hue immersive lighting system using 9 hue bars and 1 light strip. A short section will also show you a monitor configuration as well. So, let's hop in. The first item you'll want is a cable concealer such as this if you're planning on having a neat setup. I highly recommend it because you're going to be dealing with a good amount of cables. The second item you'll need to have is the wall warts that come with the Philips Hue kit. You'll need 3 of these in total if you plan on going all out for the 9 hue bar. The third item you'll be needing is a Philips Hue bridge. I recommend probably grabbing one of these off eBay as they normally go for about 25 bucks on there, and if you were to buy one new it'd be about 50. The fourth item, which is optional but highly recommended, is a power cube. You can get one of these off Amazon for about 15 bucks. And great if you don't want to deal with a plethora of wall warts infesting your power strip space, saving you from mass amounts of irritation and questioning the meaning of life due to never having room on your power strip. Next up, you might want to grab some measuring tape if you want to space out the top and bottom bars evenly. Some 1/2 inch 3M tape, since we're not going to be using the included mounts with the Hue kits. And finally, some janky ass scissors. Don't judge my janky ass scissors. Now the first step you'll want to take is to remove the TV or monitor from wherever it is sitting or mounted. If it's a large display like this, grab a friend to help you. Or, if you're a loner like me, take your time transporting this precious display from point A to point B, unless, you enjoy setting your wallet on fire. Next, you're going to want to lay your display down very slowly with the screen facing a soft, flat, even surface. You can see here how I placed the light strip. You'll want to take off the 3M tape located on the power brick and attach it to the TV next to the connecting side. You can cut down the length section just a bit like I've done, but not by much, maybe 2 feet at most. Just in case something better comes along, you'll be able to easily pull it off and place it elsewhere in your living space, and not have it be a foot long if you were to cut it just to fit the TV. Next, you'll want to grab your play bars and 1/2 inch 3M tape. Cut the 3M tape at the length of the play bars and place the tape on either side of the back of the bar and run your finger over it with pressure to lock the tape firmly in place so when you peel the top non-stick layer off, the layer located underneath won't separate from the bottom. Now is when you'll want to begin removing the top non-stick layers from all the play bars after you're done attaching all the 3M tape. The reason we aren't using the included play bar mounts is because they don't provide correct angles to get the best directional light. As well, the mounts push the play bars out towards the wall about an extra inch. For maximum soft light casting, we want the lights to be as close to the display as possible and away from the wall. And just so you won't fall asleep to this extremely relaxing track, and so that I don't have to begin rambling, we're going to speed this process up to about 2000% so we aren't sitting here all night. Now starting from the bottom, you're going to want to be using the side of the play bar that angles downwards for the bottom portion of the display, so that when the light bar is casting downwards when turned on, it's able to extend its reach in that particular direction. Take your time and line up exactly where you want to place the bars, then apply pressure to lock it in place. For the bottom and top bars, you'll want to get them as close as possible to the edge of the display without the light bar frame sticking out from the edges of the TV. Make sure you distance them properly from the bottom center since the center light strip casts such a large portion of light. It's going to vary from TV to TV unit what will be possible since all units are usually made differently, but try to follow along as close as possible and make adjustments where you need to. Now do the same thing for the other bottom bar. When we get to the sidebars, once again you want to use the angle of the play bar that will be pointing outward so it will be casting a larger, softer light onto the wall. Remember, we need the light density to be as even and as blended as possible. If you can, create about 1.5 inches of space between the side light bars so that they won't blend too much or be too far apart, which creates an uneven separation. Once you make it to the top, place the bars facing upward, unlike the bottom light bars where they're placed downward. We need the light to be casting at an upward angle, once again giving off more light density and spread. When you get to the middle bar, use a tape measure to measure the space from the left bar so that the center is completely even. Repeat for the next light bar as well. So now that you have an insane amount of cables, unless you really set on your living space being a dystopian cyberpunk wire infested nightmare, grab a wire twist or something similar to tie up that disaster cable mess that a person with cable management OCD would most likely throw themselves out a window after witnessing that living nightmare. Now if you're running a monitor, like a 27-inch display, like shown here, you might have to use the included flat mounts that come with the hue bars. Try to avoid using them if you can, but if not, it's really no big deal. Once again, this can vary depending on the back of your unit. If your monitor allows for it, try to place the bottom hue bars without the included mounts towards the bottom, angled downward and out. But there are several ways to go about this depending on your monitor. For ultra-wide monitors, 34 inches and up, it might be possible to add a middle bar as well. Ultimately, you should take a look at the back of your display and plan accordingly to what you can achieve. Wipe down your display to remove greasy monkey paw prints left behind. Next, attach the concealers behind your display and run the wires through them. Once you're done, try to pull the cables to where they aren't hanging. Then grab them all together and use a twist wire so you won't have a nightmare living behind your display. After that, you're going to want to grab this color zone wallpaper. Link to that is in the description below. Either cast it from a mobile device or full screen it on your PC. We're going to use this when we pull up the Hue app to properly map out the light placement zones. So next on your mobile device, head to the Hue app and tap on Settings. Select Entertainment Areas. At the top, select Create Entertainment Area. Select all the lights that are attached to your TV. If you notice, after selecting 10, you can no longer add any more. Currently, the limit is 10 light sources. After you're done, hit Continue at the bottom. This step, you're going to want to pay attention to where the lights are blinking behind your TV when you begin placing the light bars in the virtual room. My advice is to not place them around the virtual TV itself, but to use the whole entire area so that you will have more room when you're trying to get your light zones just right. For the bottom lights, we're going to want to tap twice for floor lights. This will allow the hue bridge to send a signal to the rendering algorithm, letting it know that these lights need to emulate a bottom light source. For the top lights, we're going to tap 3 times on the designated light, so it tells the bridge that this is a top light source. And then for the side lights, just leave them at TV height. Once you're done with your initial placement, go ahead and hit Next. Double check to make sure all the light sources are linked together properly. Once you're back at the entertainment area settings, tap on the profile you just created. Scroll down to the bottom and select Performance. You're going to want to turn off automatic detection at the top. We need to manually select the most central bar located on your display. If you don't have a central light unit, you can leave it on automatic or select the bridge. In this case, we're going to be using the light strip as a central bar. This lets the algorithm know which bar is most central and provides much more accuracy to the light placement. We're almost there. I know, it's a long one. Select your profile yet again. This time we're going to be painting our light zones with the wallpaper you grabbed from the description below this video. I recommend only focusing on mapping one light at a time to the correct color zone representation that is on screen. If certain areas are giving you trouble, try moving other light sources away from that particular light so that it disconnects. Once you drag that light to a new area that isn't matched properly to the zone, hit the check mark and wait about 5 to 10 seconds for the light to update. Rinse and repeat this step for all lights. Now I'm going to show you exactly what my profile looks like. I could have done that to begin with, but I think some of you might want to experiment further with this feature to get exactly how you like it. Once you're done, go ahead and exit out of the app. Now for the final step in this tutorial. If you're on PC, open up your app. Link to that is in the description. If you have a Hue sync box, if you're on console, it should look pretty similar to this. So as you can see here, there are different levels of intensity that you can set. This lets the app know how fast you want the lights to react to scene changes on screen. I find intense a little too much as it is very fast to react to changes, so I normally leave it on high. I feel like it's a good middle ground. I'll be going over the differences in real time in an upcoming video. You'll notice the different modes above. For video mode, the app will scan the image with a cinematic letterbox format. I tend to use this mode pretty often depending on the game. It seems to scan major colors on screen better, giving a more accurate response. The next is game mode. This mode scans the lines on the entire edges of the display. This is great in faster paced games such as Doom where a lot is going on at the same time. Above that, you can adjust the brightness. I typically leave this set at 100. I'd mess around with it to get a feel of what you like best though. Next is settings. Here's where you can select different profiles that you've created. Under general, there's a few things. Under performance mode, you want to select high performance so the scenes react quickly. Next, under background lighting, you want to make sure background lighting is off. You don't want a background light when you're in a dark scene. That'll pull you out of the immersive experience, which completely eliminates the purpose of this tutorial. Keyboard shortcuts. You can set up shortcuts here for a variety of things such as mode changes on the fly and brightness changes. I've still failed to set this up, as you can see. Game preferences. Now, once you load up a game, most of the time the app will detect it and add it to the list. Here you can customize auto start for every time you boot, intensity, and also select a mode giving you options of default, first person, or MMO. It will change the way the app reads the zones depending on the type of game it is when you set this. If your game isn't in the list and is currently running, you can use this drop down menu to select it. Otherwise, you can browse manually. And that about wraps it up for the tutorial. I apologize if it was quite long, but it was a whole lot of content to pack into this video. So there you have it, you've made it, and now you can finally bask in the victory of the glorious immersive eye candy that has been bestowed upon you. With all the insanely cool titles coming out this year, you can experience them for the first time at the peak of visual pleasure, while immersing yourself far deeper into the core of the journey. It was a lot of hard work going from knowing nothing about cameras, video editing, and all the other amounts of insane jazz it took to pump this out, but it's finally here, and it's only the beginning.
You guys really enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned something. That's what I'm here for. You know, I've been really excited to get this into, you know, the final stages of pushing this out, and it feels so good to finally have it done. And I can't wait to start the next video, which is going to be over headphone audio. I've dove into that black realm of audiophiles, so I can bring out what I've learned and all the gear that I had to go through in order to find the right setups and what's a good ground for low tier, mid tier, and high tier. Let's get you away from those wireless headsets. Let's get you away from those gaming headsets and give you something that will truly change an audio experience, because in my opinion, what you hear is just as important as what you see. Until next time. Peace.